Hey everyone, I'm James, founder of the Motherboard and head of development, and today we're going to put together an Android Dice app. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that everything used to make this app was used for free, and while paying programs often are better than the programs used in this application, free software is still available, and it's more than adequate for what we want to do today. Alright, so we're going to open up our Eclipse. I have a funny little logo here. Yours is probably going to look like a purple planet, doesn't matter. So here's Eclipse. I'm going to put it in that folder and create my project. It's going to be called, an Android project. We don't want to create anything else today. Create. Now for the application name, you can pick whatever you want. It's not really that important, but just keep in mind that you're not going to be able to change it later. It's not going to be what appears on the market, but it's still important. So now that that's set, let's pick which phone we want it to be optimized for. You can pick whichever one you want. You probably won't have as many as I do because I just downloaded this many. But for this type of application, it shouldn't matter. The API is how powerful the phone is. For this application, as I just said, we're not going to be using much other than the random factor, which all phones have. So you really can set it to as low as you want. I'm going to use my level 2.1 because that's the phone that I have, and I just want to work better on my phone. It's probably not going to do anything, but that's just me. So application name, it's the same as above. But this is what people see on the market, so a little bit more important. This one, however, is changeable. The package, that's the location of the file. It's interesting. It's like the backwards of a website. You can do org.example, com.example. You can name it really whatever you want. The create activity, that's the first activity. Not important. You need one, but I don't have to explain that. I'll explain that later. And then the minimum, that is the API level. That's just how powerful the phone is. Mine is a 7. It's not that big, but it's big enough. So as you can see, there's no problem. We're going to create the project. It appears on our list. Let's open it up. First, I'm going to show you all the files that we're going to be using today. This is our activity. It's sort of empty. All it has is the default content. We're going to have to fill that in later. So here's our drawable. That's actually something we're going to remove later. There's the main layout, and those are the strings. Let's do the layout first. Layout is quick and easy. In most cases, of course. What's good about layout is you can usually create a good one and then apply that to multiple apps. There's a little bit of lag. There we go. This is the graphical interface. This shows you what your layout currently looks like on the phone, so you don't have to run an emulator each time. As you can see, it's like empty. Fortunately, I made us one ahead of time. Just going to copy paste it. There we go. I made it nice and formatted for you. It would look ugly otherwise and incomprehensible. As you can see, we have two linear layouts. Not that complicated. And we have 3 views, 2 text views, and an image button. You can use a button instead of an image button if you choose to, but image button is just easier to use for what we want to do, since after all we want to be able to click on the die to have it roll. As you can see, the objects, the views, I had them all wrap content. That's just because I don't want them to exceed their bounds. For the linear layouts, I made them fill parent. That's because I want them to be as big as possible, like a gas. Fill as much as it can. The objects, not so much. I don't want one object to cover everything, So here we have the SRC. That's the location of the image that will be used for the image button. I set it to die 3. That's actually an image that I have. Speaking of images, let's load them up. Let's pull it out from the example one I made earlier. There it is. Alright, so here we go. I'm just going to snatch them. I made these with paint, so you can make them too. They're not that hard. They look ugly, yes, but again, I made them in like 5 minutes, not caring. And I also used a program that was free. I have better programs, but I don't want to make you disappointed if you make something as ugly as this. So, here we go. They're images. They're not bad, but if you want to sell something and make money, you might want to use something better. So here, as you can see, they're loaded. Often there's a little bit of lag between when you see them appear and when you loaded them, but that's not important because whether it shows them or not, they're still there, assuming you loaded them properly. Loading, all you have to do is move them to the right folder, which is the drawable HPI or whatever. It's always the first one. So let's modify our strings. Let's remove this because this is just a hello world. It's automatically generated. Unfortunately, I have to remove them each time because it won't stop putting them. And let's copy this string. We're going to make something similar, but a color, and we're going to name it background. The background color we're going to pick will be a nice teal green. I think that's what it was. Yeah. C4500FFFFF. Yeah, that should be green. I don't know my colors by heart, as it's just too complicated, but I'm pretty sure that's a green. So, as you can see, the error is gone. That's because we defined what the color was. And here we go. This is what it will look like on the phone. See, the picture, even though it looks kind of bad in the folder, it actually looks alright for the application. So here we have the layout, the linear layout that's inside of the bigger linear layout. The bigger one you can't select because it covers everything, but the second one, as you saw, we were able to select. Yeah, so on the right, I'm matching them up right now. As you can see, should you be confused by the code, Eclipse is very user-friendly. You have your pictures, and you have over there, like, actual organization for you. So, I have everything inside of here. Note that I didn't select the third text view, and that's because, well, it's not present. The third text view, I want to say the number that was rolled, and because no number was rolled, that being the home screen, no, you can't see it. So now I'm going to be setting up my variables. We're going to define the text views used and the image button. Again, I'm only going to define one text view this time, and that's because the first one, the one that was visible in the graphical interface, as you noticed, was the title of the application. I'm not going to mention it here because I'm not going to be changing the title. But the image button is going to have some image changes, of course. It's going to look different depending on what is rolled. The text, oh, hold on, problem. Alright, we're going to crop that out. Sorry, I made a mistake. It doesn't go in the onCreate, that goes in the general. Oh, I mean, it can go in the onCreate, but it's just better to put it in the general, because or else anything outside of the onCreate won't be able to use those variables, and I don't want to teach you bad habits. So, so yeah, the int my result, that's what we're going to get when I roll the dice, and the string output, well, that's going to be, the output. That's what we actually get out of it. I don't think in our case the output's that important, but, I'm going to put it there for a reason that I'm not going to mention. So, the function, this is the function that runs when the app is launched. I'm just going to type that there so you can see it with your own eyes. And, alright, so mtext equals text view, find view by ID, RID, text01, that's because I named it text01. Hold on, let me catch up. There we go. Okay, nice, it's auto-completed. Alright, good. We're going to do the same thing with the M button. While I type that, I'm going to explain a little bit. So basically, I put in the parentheses what it is, and find view by ID, that's just something you have to memorize, or have the computer automatically complete for you, which isn't even a setting, it just does it. And then the location, RID, text01, that's what I called it in the layout. You can call it whatever you want, but make sure that it matches the name used in the layout. I just use text01 and button01 because, I want to use something generic. There's no point in being complicated. Alright, so let's get to setting the click listener. The click listener, that tells the app to check to see if people are touching the screen. It's a little redundant because after you do this, you need to tell the app to check to see if someone pressed on the screen. But that's just how it works. So alright, here we go. Let's remove that. Okay. Okay, yeah. Let's put the semicolon there, and let's fill this in. So when someone clicks, let's have it set the result to a random number. Hold on, let me type this. It's so complicated. Alright, so random, alright, there we go. So basically, it takes a random number based on the current time in milliseconds. As you know, numbers are not actually random in computer world, but, this is a close approximation. So next int 6, oh wait, hold on. It has to be, we're going to add a 1, because at the moment, this is a range between 0 and 5, and you can't roll a 0 on the die, and you can't, you can pass 5, so let's add a +1 there. That way you get a value that is between and including 1 and 6. Let's save. Now I'm going to call the method rollDice. This method does not exist, but we're going to create it later. And now we're just going to update the text, which, as you saw, currently wasn't visible, but will become visible when the dice is rolled. So now, as you can see there, if you just want to show a string, you don't have to type string value of. The reason why I had to type that was because my result is an integer and not a string. It's a little frustrating, but that's how it works. You need to actually tell the integer to be seen as a string. So now we're going to create our method. It says protected, but we're going to change that to a public. Alright. That's good. So carrying on, now we're going to define how it actually works. We're going to be using switches, because switches are more efficient in this case. What a switch does is it takes one variable, which is my result, and it compares it to a ton of things, like if my result is equal to 1, if it's equal to 2, then it does this, or this, or this. So it's just really fast if you have one variable. You could use if and else, as I'm going to show you. I'm not going to get into too much detail, just type that, and then remove it. Just to show what you could do, my results equals 1. The reason why we're not going to be using that is because you'd have to write if it's equal to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. You'd have to write that every single time. And in our case, it's the same variable, so we're just going to use a switch. We don't have to redefine everything. Just easier. So we're going to do case 1. That's when the roll is equal to 1, when my result is equal to 1. Here, let me type it out for you, just so you understand in terms of if and else. The reason why I'm doing this is because, though we're using switch, if and else is very potent because it can compare multiple variables and it's more flexible. Again, we're just using the switch because the switch is fast in this case, and the switch is also very light on the system, and because I want to teach you guys some good habits, we're going to be using a switch. Because if and else are so flexible and versatile, in most cases you'll be using them, and I just want you to have some experience with switches before you use them every single day like I do, every time you code. So now we're going to break the case. That means that nothing else happens other than that one line. So now case 2, I'm going to type in the same thing. Actually, wait, I think I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to copy paste the case 1 like 6 times or however many times I do it. And, because it's the same thing. Alright, I only did it 5 times, but whatever. So, case 2, case 3 now. I'm putting these little spaces, the extra lines, just because it looks better, and when you're debugging, it's nice to have a code that looks nice and clear. You don't have to do it, but I recommend it because if you run into problems, it just is going to look ugly, and you're going to be confused, and you're going to be sad when it doesn't work. So yeah, here let's change the images, and alright, that's good, it's saved. So that is the entirety of our application. I'm just going to remove that, so let's... I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So it's saved, there we go, that's everything. It's not a complicated application. As you saw, we did that entire app in no more than 10 minutes, and that was with me talking excessively. So now I'm going to close these down because they are no longer necessary, and open up the manifest. As you can see, the manifest has a ton of stuff. Here you can see how everything's organized. You have the activity inside of the application. I'm just showing this to you. We're not going to make any changes to it, fortunately for you, because it's a little bit complicated. But if you want to release apps onto the market, this is something that you'd have to, check, because you need to make sure that all your activities are listed, or all the ones that are important. And yeah, so run configure. I'm just going to set it to manual mode because I want to be able to tell the computer exactly which ones I want to run. I have none open at the moment, so we're going to launch a new one, and we're going to pick the current, which is an emulator that has a very similar API level to my own, which should be 7. I believe it said 2.1 update 1. Yeah, that's the same OS as me. So now it's going to take a while because I'm essentially turning on a phone inside of a computer, but it shouldn't take more than half a minute. Alright, now it's slowing a bit, but it should be functional in not too much time. There we go. Now, just a slight notice, this is not my phone. This is an emulator, so it does not look like my phone. However, it has the same operating system as my phone. So it's like I'm showing you what an application how it would work on my computer by showing you how it works on another Alienware, or, well, I guess Windows 7, because that's the OS I have, or or Linux, because for what I have, it'll work the same way. So let's wait. It should be loaded any minute. Normally, it won't load like this. Not in the sense that when you turn it on it'll be faster, but in the sense that, once it's on, you won't have to reload everything. So you can actually use the same emulator and run multiple scripts, multiple programs, and as long as you don't close the emulator, it'll stay open and you won't have to waste that much time. So here's our application. It looks nice. Let's click on it. 4. Okay, that's a good number, I guess. I don't really care at the moment. But as you can see, it works, and it works well. We can... at the moment I'm clicking slowly, but because of cases, we can actually click quickly. Let me try that out. First, okay, so yeah, it's functional. It's not just picking those numbers, and let's test out quickly. It works nice. That's because the switch makes it super fast. With the if and else, the difference would be no more than a few milliseconds, but I'm a perfectionist again. So here we go. It works. On the side, those are buttons. We're not going to be using them for this, and that was it. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope it was helpful, and I acknowledge the fact that I did not mention everything. That's because, well, I just didn't have anything else to tell you without going over an hour or more speaking about things that most people will not be interested in. So thank you again for listening, and make sure you check out mobo.site88.net. We'll try to get mobo.fastly.org as soon as possible, but you never know. So thank you for watching, and leave comments below.